Very honest, very real, and just formidable, and we're going to learn a lot from her. So please welcome Emma Devereux of Maintech Recruitment.
No pressure.
No pressure at all. Are you all right? I know you've got a bit of a cough.
I'm going to apologise in advance.
A little bit of coughing. So there might be people here that don't know who you are. I know you've got some E-team here. Lovely ladies over there. Give us a little introduction as to who you are and your journey to Maintech.
So I've now been in recruitment for 7 years. Prior to that I was an estate agent, 14 years in big corporates. Found my way into recruitment very much when I had my son. So my first, George, is now 8. And I kind of knew going back to property wasn't going to give me the balance that I needed being a mum. So I went and worked for Staff for 3 years. Loved it. COVID hit, had my second son. And I kind of looked and thought, I've run businesses obviously for other people in estate agency, and kind of looked at the 360 model and thought, we've got a girl that was kind of in the business with us that hated BD, absolutely hated it. I hated candidate sourcing, it drove me insane, hated looking at the back end of the job boards. And so I was like, you do my sourcing, I'll do your BD and we'll just work together. My boss hated that. Was bonkers because we were doing really well. COVID hit, obviously then we were at home and our industry boomed during COVID, so I work in engineering, so manufacturing recruitment. Obviously all the supermarkets went through the roof because all the restaurants were closed. So I'm sat at home with a 1-year-old, Freddie walked 2 days after COVID, after that first lockdown, and a 3-year-old going, oh my God, how do I keep these two alive and work full time? And the fear for me, I think of, a couple of people said, oh, you'd be really good to have on your own. And I think the fear for me was, like, if one of these is sick or, and my mum, how do I balance both of them? And let's be honest, pre-COVID, if you cancelled on a client because your kid was sick, that's it, you're done. Like, there's no second chance, they're not interested. I think actually what COVID taught everybody in the wider world, especially manufacturing where it's very old school, was you can jump on teams and it's not that scary. So obviously my clients at that point got to know the kids because my 1-year-olds are literally sat on my lap going, hi. And actually probably won me some business at that point as well. I think also at that point I had to flip because I couldn't be on the phone cold calling with the 1-year-old screaming in the background. So I kind of flipped and I think at that point as well everyone good was doing kind of their personal branding and their story on LinkedIn. So I was kind of never really used LinkedIn at that point, but then started just talking about the norm. So talking about Freddie sat on my lap talking to a client and just being me. I think also being out of the office, my boss at the time would read all of my posts on LinkedIn. She'd be like, oh, can you change that? That doesn't quite fit, And nothing wrong with that. That's, it's her business and that's the way, that she'd been taught and whatnot. And I kind of just started helping people. There was loads of people out of work. Started helping people, just posting out and it wasn't for any reason other than these people can't pay their mortgages. And obviously I worked the recession in the estate agency and physically saw people that were repossessed from the houses. So I was like, do you know what, I can just put a post out for this HR manager or this TA that says, they're looking for a job. I did it for maintenance engineers as well, in our market that we're looking, and actually didn't realise the impact that, even now I had a message from a guy a couple of weeks ago that was like, you were so good during COVID. I couldn't even remember who he was, if I'm honest. It was like, but you were so good for me during COVID. And I thought actually people always remember how you make them feel, not what you say to them.
Preach.
So then I'd been dealing with Liz. I decided that I didn't want to go back into the office. I'd done sort of my maternity stint. I'd done 6 months of COVID at home. My values didn't align with the business that I was with. I was pulled in about doing a post about a maintenance engineer that needed a job and was like, well, you should have placed him. I was like, well, I couldn't, like he's up in Manchester, we've got nothing for him in Manchester, fully enough, he's now a client. It's like, I've got nothing for him, I've not got the time, sat at home to call out for him, so, the least I could do is just put a post out for him and he used my network. So that kind of didn't lie. There was a few other bits, so I've been out on interview with Liz a a few times and going, but I need to get back from the school run and I can't be in Birmingham city centre sat in the traffic because it was great getting here. You know, so I was like, and so Liz suggested, she was like, have you thought about setting up on your own, because you're not going to get in recruitment that flexibility to go and drop the kids off at nursery and whatnot. And I thought, why not?
And here we are.
4 years later, we're doing all right.
And how many have you got now? How many in your team?
We've just employed Camilla as our ninth
Wow.
person.
In how many years? 4. 4 years, that's amazing. And one thing that I've been showing loads of people actually that were coming before you arrived, that you, for me, nailed TikTok really early on. So you seem to have had this strategy about just doing what other people weren't doing.
Yeah.
So just talk me through, go back a step, like, how did that all happen?
So actually I winged it on TikTok, if I'm completely honest with you. So at that point LinkedIn was very much video, like LinkedIn wanted video.
Yeah.
I'm not very tech savvy. So I was like,
I don't think anyone here is.
Actually my sister at this point was like, oh, get yourself on TikTok, like it's brilliant. I'm like, I don't want to be, like I don't want to sit there endlessly scrolling. But I looked at it and I was like, actually, you can make a video really easy on TikTok, and if I need to be on video for LinkedIn, I'm going to record them on TikTok, leave them there, nothing will ever happen, and then post those out on LinkedIn. And then a byproduct of that, then we started getting this following on TikTok, and we started getting candidates from it, and I was like, okay, that's a bit, like I didn't expect that to happen. And passive candidates, people that aren't necessarily looking for a job. We kind of went through a business buyout, so I took an investor on initially, went through a business buyout about 2 years ago, and we've not really done a lot of the TikTok in the last probably 12 months, and like algorithms have changed and stuff, but it's something I keep saying to my team. I would just employ Keely, who's an apprentice, to come and take the marketing side off me, because it's still me doing it. I think all founders do the same thing, do everything. And TikTok is one that we're, you know, fully going back on, you know, because we've made placements from it. You know, probably our biggest success from TikTok was a nearly £20,000 fee from a high level, security cleared candidate that found me in my pyjamas on a Friday night, and literally it was, I'm looking for systems engineers in Bristol. Are there any out there? And that was, you know, tongue in cheek for LinkedIn, and he came from TikTok. So.
And that's why I wanted to talk to you about it, because I think so many people in this room, most people in this room have probably got a bit of a barrier. We'll go on TikTok, right? We do the doom scroll, but it's the algorithm is different to LinkedIn. And I only know this from Lilia, who unfortunately won't be here tonight. Lilia, my daughter, she's working with me. She's been on Musical.ly from when she was about 7, which I know is not meant to be, is it? But they know, you know, she's explained this to me. So the algorithm of TikTok is, you've just got to try and get a viral one. You've got to go with the viral stuff. But actually, the video creation bit is actually really easy. And I think if you have it as a strategy of, look, it's a great way to create video for LinkedIn. You know, you're not necessarily going to go and connect a load of your target market on there. But I think it's a strategy which actually we've started to do for the last 3 months. We literally spend 5 minutes a week on it. And I'm not joking. And it only takes 5 minutes to get the response.
My team on Wednesday, I think Rohit's coming, we're going full on TikTok training now. So there is the shift on TikTok, from what I understand. So there's a guy that's coming in, he's set his own marketing business up, purely marketing on TikTok. Is actually you don't want to go viral, you want to find your talk. So you want to find the people in that space that want to see your stuff. And that's all about your hashtags, your algorithms, and kind of work in that space. So I'll know more on Wednesday, obviously. So he's kind of looked at, and again, it's about getting your personality of your teams out there. It's getting people to connect with you, and you know, and actually that's really easy to do by video. You know, and it's again kind of people understanding who you are, who your core values are.
And video is now really being pushed on LinkedIn, isn't it? So that's where you've got all your reels. So again, it's just a really easy strategy that each person can do. It doesn't need to be the silly stuff. It could be a job like you've done. So I think that's...
We're looking, you know, for us going forward, I'm not great with the generations, but you Gen Zs, which I think are below millennials.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a millennial, I'm one below. Apparently, don't use Google anymore. Don't even know what Google is. They go on TikTok and they search on TikTok.
Seriously?
That's right.
So
First place they'll go.
Yeah, so again, space-wise for us from recruitment.
Even, have you seen the Stephen Bartlett interview, the ex-CEO of Google saying don't use Google, so I'm just saying.
So recruitment's the third highest search next to solicitors on TikTok in the UK.
Wow.
Vic's got a question.
I'm not even on TikTok. Well, I think I am. I created an account. I never used it. But can I pick your brains about it? Yeah, of course. Is that alright? Yeah.
Thank you. Definitely.
I mean,
I need
fully
a mentor.
winged
I
it.
need a mentor.
Yeah, I've fully winged it, so
Greg's
I'm not.
quite up on TikTok.
But same with Facebook, I mean, we use, for our markets, it's maintenance engineers, predominantly in food manufacturing businesses. So I set up the maintenance Facebook group 5 years ago, in COVID actually. And my personal Facebook now is very much, recruitment led. It's not, I mean, my nanny's still on there and my nan still shares every single job. I don't think she knows what a maintenance engineer is, but she still shares every job for me. But again, part of that's been about, about my story and about setting the business up for the boys and, being a single mum and balancing that kind of stuff. And, and I genuinely get client leads. So my biggest client, I am going to name drop with Pepsi, came from Facebook.
Never heard of it. Yeah, that's amazing. And I think that's having a holistic approach to social media. And I think it's ensuring that, I mean, I've got about 900 Facebook friends and I think there's about 3 real friends on there and the rest are recruiters. I actually only stay on there for the memories, anyone else? Just literally, because I was like, oh my god, there's so little. But I think that's really useful. It was a very nice segue actually, because we started your story with the fact that, you had your 2 little boys, I forget how little they are. And there were people in this room that are possibly thinking, how do I do it all? And I just want to know, is there a life hack to harmonising running a business, being a leader, being a recruiter, and being present for whether you're a caregiver, parent, partner? How do you get it right?
I think with any career that, when we talk about work-life balance now, I think really respectfully some of the younger generation think that's like, I don't have to work hard. You do. You have to work hard in the hours that you're given. I'm from a corporate background, right? So, it was the expectation, because I'm like a little bit older than some people in the room, was that you're in the office at 8 o'clock in the morning, in your 20s, and you don't leave until 7:30 until you've done, and obviously that's an very old school corporate and recruitment mentality. All of my girls boys as well, because I've got 2 boys now, sorry. They all work flexibly. They can either work in the office or at home, and it's not just parents. So, like Matt, for example, he has a PT session in the middle of the day. I think it's on a Wednesday. But they all know that they've got to deliver on their deliverables. I employ adults, and I expect them to run their diary how they see it works. I do leave 2 days a week at 3 o'clock to pick the boys up from school, and then spend 3 hours carrying them around to the clubs. And I think you can get that balance right, but you do have to work hard. And I think especially in your sort of 20s before children, that's the time when you're really learning. And I wouldn't change my corporate career for anything, because it taught me some really good sales processes and sticking, and that side of things. So you do have to work hard, but if you've got, a 40-hour week, like absolutely rinse it in that 40 hours, and you do have to be able to switch off. So we have a rule at home, some of the boys, where that first half an hour we're together, so whether I'm picking them up from school or after school club or whatever it is, that first half an hour, phones go away, TV's off, and it's just us, and it's digesting the day. And obviously they're 8 and 5 now, so the challenges are becoming different. I had massive mum guilt at the beginning. Like when I first set the business up, I was working 80-hour weeks, and I think you have to kind of get that mindset of, and this is what I'm doing it for. They were in before and after school club every day. It's a lot easier now because the balance is easier, and I've built that we've got a consistent workflow coming through, and I've built that bit. But you have to, there's a difference between working hard and working smart. And if you're in the office till 7 o'clock and you're not hitting your billings, there's a fundamental problem wrong there. Yeah. And
we've all been around people who are just present, aren't they? It's just that toxic mentality, and that's not. I don't believe that we should continue to promote that as an industry, and I think we've all seen the benefit and advantage of what COVID allowed us to do, which was focus on our full well-being as leaders, as recruiters. And I think it's really, I do think it's really important to sort of learn from Gen Z, or just from people around us, that you can blend your life, but I think it's important to switch off. And I think I watch my two daughters, they literally go and put their phones on the side to charge and then go and sit and watch telly, and it'll be me sat there fucking scrolling. And I'm like, right, well, and then who's to learn the behaviour off? But they're the ones that are teaching me. So actually, I think you can look around and go, I'm going to learn that behaviour from you. I do think, ultimately, recruitment is a meritocracy. It's the ultimate meritocracy. So I do genuinely believe that. But I think for you, you've found a balance now, and you've put the work in, you've put the effort in. But I think I want people to leave here knowing that it's about creating what's right for you and your
100%.
Situation.
Yeah, and 100%. So, some people, and I've sat in, I remember Andy and I, when we were back in our estate agency days, and I'm like, I don't know if anyone uses this profile, but I'm like a high D, so I am driven and results orientated, goal orientated, and Andy was just not. So he would hit his monthly target like 2 weeks into the month and then switch off, and I'd be like, what? Keep going, and I'm like fighting for the next thing and pushing myself. But you know what? He was consistent, month in, month out. Still with that business now. Still delivers month in, month out. Every month you can guarantee. And actually, I think as a leader, you need those people in your business too.
You do.
You don't need rock stars all the time. I mean, I was a bloody nightmare to manage in my 20s. Jesus.
I say I was unmanageable, so there you go. I'm ready too for later.
But so I think on that side of things, you and I think the DNA, Andy was definitely introverted. Wouldn't push himself out of his comfort zone. Wouldn't and I think I look around at my team now, and Amy, who's my counterpart, she's very introvert, but systems and processes, and mine are awful. So we're the polar opposites of each other, but complement each other really well. And it's understanding and working together.
Love that. Has anybody got a question for Emma before we finish her section now? Oh, one from Lindsay.
So you talk about flexibility, which I really agree with. People like having that balance in their life. You also mentioned the 40 hours in there. What's your opinion on for recruiters, and assuming that you're taking on an experienced recruiter that knows how to do the job? What's your opinion on 0-hour contracts and unlimited holiday? Yeah, I mean, I say to all of my guys, I pay you for 40 hours. But if you can bill what you need to bill in a 30-hour week, knock yourselves out. You don't care? No. I'm not chaining people to a desk. I mean, we have a flexibility in the office where, like, you can literally work at home. The only day that I expect everyone in is Monday. That's the only day. And if they can't come in on a Monday for whatever reason, but they're working, they'll dial in to the morning meeting. But other than that, and they all know that literally they can come and go as they please, providing the billings are there. And that's our two-way street on. I think Sarah's probably the best example of this. Like, she used to ring, I'm just nipping out to the shop. I'll be back in. I don't care. Like, I know you're working.
Can I just say, after 7.5 years, I'm throwing Shannon under the bus. She will still message me and say, I'm just going to go to the gym at like 4 o'clock, and I'm like, and?
Yeah.
Like, why are you asking me? You do?
Sorry.
And I think there's a respect level there, none of mine take the mic. They just get on.
Employ more adults, I'd say. Brilliant. Thank you so much, Emma. You've been fantastic. Our TikTok queen, hopefully. Thank you so much. Really appreciate you being here.